I am the villain.
What if I told you that the most iconic, cackling, skull-faced villain of your childhood wasn't actually born a monster?
Why do I surround myself with fools? Even the robots are smarter than you!
What if the absolute worst threat to Eternia, the guy we all know for shouting insults at his incompetent henchmen, was actually a tragic blue-skinned prince who got completely robbed of his birthright? Yeah, we need to talk about the true origins of Skeletor.
Skeletor to King Randor! Skeletor to King Randor!
Hey everyone, welcome back to your nerdy show. I'm your host, Spoiler Master. Today, we are diving deep into the lore of the Masters of the Universe franchise because, honestly, Skeletor's backstory is wilder than most people realize. If you grew up watching the original 1980s cartoon, you probably remember Skeletor as this delightfully evil, dimension-hopping demon who just really wanted to break into Castle Grayskull. He didn't need a complex motive. He was just evil because, well, look at his face. It's a literal skull. But as the franchise grew, the writers started dropping these tiny, fascinating breadcrumbs. They started hinting that there was a deeply personal, incredibly dark family drama hiding beneath that purple hood. So, how did a dashing, ambitious young prince named Keldor become the ultimate overlord of evil? Grab a drink, settle in, and let's unwrap the tragic, twisted, and sometimes downright confusing history of Skeletor.
I feel so much better when I do something bad!
The evil demon era where it all started. To really appreciate how good his modern origin story is, we have to go back to the very beginning. In the original 1980s minicomics, the ones that came packaged with the action figures, Skeletor wasn't related to He-Man at all. Let me show you what I mean. Originally, he was just an inhabitant of an entirely different dimension. This dimension was apparently packed to the brim with other skull-faced people just like him during something called the Great Wars. A massive dimensional tear opened up, and Skeletor got violently hurled right through it, landing smack dab in the middle of Eternia. At first, he wasn't even obsessed with Castle Grayskull. He just wanted to build a portal to get back home so he could bring his people over to conquer Eternia together. But over time, he realized just how much raw, cosmic energy was locked inside Grayskull, and his priorities shifted. He basically went from, I want to go home, to I want to rule this entire universe. Classic villain pivot, right? But here's where things get interesting. As the franchise evolved, the writers realized that a generic alien demon wasn't quite hitting the emotional notes they wanted. When they introduced Hordak as Skeletor's former mentor, it opened up a whole new can of worms. It proved Skeletor had a past, and right near the end of the original Masters of the Universe run, the minicomics dropped a massive bombshell. They completely ignored the whole other dimension thing and hinted at a new name, Kelldor. They suggested that Skeletor was actually the long-lost brother of He-Man's dad, King Randor. Imagine finding out your worst enemy is actually your uncle. Talk about awkward family reunions.
Talk is over.
The deep, dark, tragic, true origin. Now, if you want the absolute deepest, most heartbreaking version of this story, we have to look at what's widely considered the true origin in the expanded lore. And trust me, this version plays out like a dark Shakespearean tragedy. In this version of the lore, Kelldor wasn't a monster. He was the firstborn son of King Miro, making him the older brother to Randor. By all accounts, Kelldor was a total powerhouse. He was a brilliant scientist, a dedicated scholar, and a legendary military general. He was by all rights the obvious heir to the throne of Eternia. So why didn't he become king? Well, it all comes down to prejudice and bad blood, literally. Kelldor was a half-breed. His mother belonged to the Gar, a race of blue-skinned, beastly humanoids. Because of this, King Miro looked at his incredibly qualified, brilliant older son and said, yeah, no, you're going to just be an advisor. Your younger, full human brother Randor gets the crown. Can you imagine the bitterness? You do all the work, you have the birthright, but you're cast aside because of who your mother was. Here's the crazy part. Even as kids, Kelldor was always protecting Randor. There's a memory where Hordak's men tried to kidnap Randor. Kelldor fought the attackers off with a sword, nearly sacrificing himself to save his little brother. But when they got back to the village, King Miro didn't believe Kelldor. He gave all the praise, all the credit, and all the glory to Randor. Kelldor was pushed into the shadows, forced to watch his brother take everything that should have been his. This immense bitterness is exactly what Lord Hordak exploited. Hordak whispered in Keldor's ear, poisoning his mind, fueling his hatred, and making him believe that he was superior to his brother because of his unique blood. Fast forward years later, Kelldor is broken, dying, and stumbling across the desolate wastes of Eternia. He's hallucinating. At one point, he literally meets a hooded skeletal figure, Death itself. Kelldor is so stubborn, so full of rage, that he leaps at Death and smashes its skull against the rocks, screaming that he refuses to die yet. Eventually, Randor finds his dying brother in the wasteland. Despite the betrayal, Randor still loves him. He begs Kelldor to explain why he turned against the family. Kelldor pulls back his hood, and it's horrifying. The dark magic and curses he's been using have literally decayed and eaten away his face. He tells Randor that he just wanted to be seen as an equal, not a second-class citizen, not just a Gar, but a son of Miro. Randor is devastated. He instantly forgives Kelldor and apologizes for not being a better brother, but Kelldor's heart is completely gone. He asks for one final forgiveness, and then he drives a dagger straight into Randor. He needed royal blood to complete a dark ritual. Kelldor steps through a portal into Hordak's realm, delivering his brother's blood. With Keldor's death, Hordak takes his dying, fleshless body, strips away the last remnants of his humanity, and reboots him as a weapon of pure malice. Prince Kelldor dies in the dark, and Skeletor is born. The 2002 masterpiece, The Acid Incident. If that comic version is a bit too bleak, let's talk about the 2002 animated series relaunch, because this is where the Kelldor storyline went mainstream, and honestly, it gave us one of the coolest villain origins in cartoon history. In the 2002 show, they leaned heavily into Kelldor being a charismatic, dashing, but incredibly ruthless warlord. He wasn't wandering the desert crying, he was leading an army. Kelldor gathers a band of vicious warriors and launches a massive assault on the Hall of Wisdom, Captain Randor, who wasn't king yet, and his officers step up to defend it. This leads to this epic, high-stakes sword duel between the two brothers. Kelldor is incredibly skilled, but Randor manages to disarm him. Now, Kelldor is a lot of things, but honorable loser is not one of them. Refusing to accept defeat, he pulls a hidden vial of highly corrosive, magical acid from his armor and hurls it right at Randor's face, but Randor reflects it with his shield. The acid splashes right back onto Keldor's own face. The scene is surprisingly intense for a Saturday morning cartoon. Kelldor screaming in agony as his face literally melts away. His loyal henchman, Beastman, grabs him and flees into the mountains. Desperate to save his life, Kelldor calls out to Hordak through a dark sanctuary. Hordak agrees to save him, but dark magic always comes with a price. Hordak strips the melting, ruined flesh entirely from Keldor's head, leaving a bare, glowing, floating skull suspended over his shoulders. When Kelldor wakes up and looks in the mirror, he doesn't see a prince anymore. He sees a monster. He officially takes the name Skeletor, and from that moment on, his mind is completely warped by vengeance. He and his followers are trapped behind a massive mystic wall for years, brewing in their own hatred, until Skeletor finally breaks it down to get his revenge on King Randor and claim the power of the elders inside Castle Grayskull. Our nerdy thoughts. But hey, I want to hear from you guys. Which version of Skeletor's origin do you prefer? Do you like the classic, mysterious 1980s interdimensional demon? Do you love the tragic, heartbreaking story of the Half-Gar prince? Or is the 2002 acid-splashing warlord your definitive version? Drop a comment below and let me know your thoughts. And hey, while you're down there, if you enjoyed this deep dive into Eternian lore, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. We've got a ton of awesome retro breakdowns coming your way, and you definitely don't want to miss them. Thanks for watching, stay nerdy, and until next time, by the power of Grayskull.
Tied up when I say goodbye.
No, what the heck, I'll laugh anyway.